Hey everyone, hope you all are staying safe out there and not slipping on ice like I've been doing. Today I just want to talk about how to keep your credit utilization at a minimum in order to maximize that credit score. So today's video agenda is pretty straightforward. The first thing I'm going to talk about is defining credit utilization. Then I'm going to go into how it's calculated. And finally I want to talk about how you can keep it as low as possible. So credit utilization is the percentage of your total credit limit that you're using every month. Now to give you an example, let's say your credit line is $10,000 for a specific credit card. Let's say you've then used $10,000, you've spent $10,000 on that card for a given month, and then at the end of the month, you've actually paid it off, and so there's a $0 balance at the end of the month. The important thing to note here is that your credit utilization is not that $10,000. Your utilization is what's reported to the credit bureaus by your credit card company. Now this is obviously important to know because credit utilization has a massive impact on your credit score, and trying to keep that as low as possible, and if it's $0, can have a very good benefit on maximizing your credit score. Next, I want to go into the nuances of how it's actually calculated. So for example here, I'm going to go into Credit Karma, then I'm going to go to credit card use, and I want to scroll down to where my cards are at, and I can actually see the date of when it was reported, right here where it says report date. The alternative is to go to your credit card statements and look at the closing date. The closing date is going to pretty much be the same every month, but you have to be careful. Sometimes they change the closing date by a day or two. You just want to make sure that you understand the payment due date is not what's actually reported. Your payment due date is just what's required when you pay off your credit card if you have a balance from the previous month, but your closing date is what's actually going to be the balance on that date that gets reported to Equifax and TransUnion. Now finally, I just want to talk about how to keep your credit utilization as low as possible. Now based off of what we've already talked about in this video, it might seem like the obvious option to just pay it off before the closing date. Now obviously that's going to work as long as you don't have a previous balance. You just have to make sure that the balance is $0 on the closing date, and that's including any pending transactions that you might have between your payment due date and your closing date, or any other transactions you might have during the month. Making sure that you make that other payment on the closing date itself is pretty much a surefire way to ensure that you're going to have a $0 utilization for that specific card for that month. It's pretty much as simple as that. I would check your Credit Karma if you have one. If you don't already have one, I would highly recommend getting one. This is not a sponsored video, but Credit Karma is pretty damn good. Check your Credit Karma the month after you've done this process and paid off your credit card, not only just by the payment date, but also pay it off in full by the closing date with no pending transactions. And if it drops down from any number to $0, that should have a pretty positive impact on your credit score. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.